Hello again. I'm a little squished right in this space here, but here we are again. It's that time. It's that place. Iris of our eye. Uh, fuck. Number 21, 2-1, all off of hands and toes officially. If it feels very legit or something. Today I'm sitting down with Eric. Your phone last name is in my phone, and I should have
it's DaBreo.
DaBreo. There it is. You
No
clicked on the
worries.
thumbnail, so it's in the description or something. So you see it. I didn't do the work to remember it. That's terrible of me. Eric
All
DaBreo,
good.
an artist of makes jewelry
Yep.
and definitely does photography because he just showed me his thing that we'll just put it here on the screen. The little walkthrough of the spa we're in, which is Sonomo.
Somo Co-work.
There's like
Somo Village. We're particularly in Somo Co-work, which is inside of Somo Village.
there you go. It's what is that? The
It's,
Russian nesting doll of the layers of where we are and what's going on.
Yeah.
So I met Eric back in February, I think.
Yeah.
February at a Sacred Sons weekend. I guess it was just a weekend, right?
Yeah. Weekend men's retreat meetup in Berkeley.
Yes. Didn't want to say the wrong word of like it was an immersion when that's like something else in there.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm always trying to think about what I would call it too. I'm like, yeah, it was like a gathering, immersion. I guess it always depends on the context of who's asking and who's talking about it. So
Because you say immersion, someone's like, no, that's like the 4-day one.
Yeah,
They do more
yeah.
stuff. You're like,
You
oh
weren't
my god,
immersed.
okay, stick
We
with it.
didn't
Like,
sleep there.
No, we definitely didn't. We were. I went back and hung out with Jarrett, which is the people who know from episode 3. That guy, he's a good friend. Which we crashed at his place in San Francisco and then came back the next day. So 2 days, 1 night of just male bonding. No ladies allowed.
Yeah. No, it was a great time, man.
Yeah, it was good.
I had
It
an
was
awesome
good.
time.
I didn't really try to go into it with any expectations. I didn't really know what I was doing.
Yeah, me neither. I was just there to check it out. My girlfriend signed me up for it. She's like, "Hey, I think you'd really like this." I was like, "All right, I'm open for it. Like, let's see what it's all about."
Yeah, that's it.
I had a good time though. I don't know if I wasn't looking for anything, but I definitely felt like there was some people that I was like, "Oh, you really need this." Like I was like, "You guys really need this breakthrough in your life, or like you need some sort of guidance because I can tell you're struggling."
Yeah.
And like I have a lot of homies I can talk to, things about. So if something's like pressing my mind, I can go to my homies and like we chill and we can talk about deep conversations and reassure each other, pat each other on the back, and be like, I get it, man. I've been there myself. So, but that was definitely an interesting part of Sacred Sons. I was like, wow, some of these guys are like really suffering and they don't have anyone to go to.
Yeah. It's the fucking like we're the men suffer in silence the most because of how naturally over the course of being alive as human beings, the leadership kind of has just been on the shoulders, and the men have bared the burden of being in charge. And that, like, if you saw the dude who's, like, leading your tribe of people breaking down crying in front of, like, some other dude who's coming to, like, take over, you'd be like, oh, fuck, that's our guy? Like, oh,
God.
no. Like,
Can't trust this guy.
yeah, dude, this guy's not going to hold his marbles when shit hits the fan or if the hot air balloon loses power and you're going to crash. Like, you don't want that guy freaking out.
Yeah.
Or if your shaman was freaking out, you're like, dude,
Yeah,
this guy
that's what
can't.
we're supposed to look up to.
Right, like, I can't put my faith in this man.
No, for sure.
Absolutely not.
And I think that's a big societal thing, especially in a lot of cultures, but particularly in Western culture, for sure. Like I think it stands a little bit more true, and it's a little bit more intense for men in general.
No, definitely, it's the competitive nature of masculinity. Like, cooperation is the most constructive and destructive force on the face of the planet, but I don't know. There's got to be a balance to it because anytime you go to one extreme, either side, it just is when things get wonky.
Yeah, and such is life. It's like it's all a balance. You gotta really be able to balance both sides of your life, and it can be even more than just two.
Yeah.
It can be 3, 4, 5, 6 things.
Juggling all the
Depends
shit,
on how
man.
big your family is, how many kids you got, how many friends you have, how many relationships you have. Like,
Right. What your priority is,
yeah, and
realistically.
priorities too.
Some people don't even choose to have kids.
Yeah.
All those weirdos out there. I love you. I love you, all the childrenless people. But like, I don't know. It's just for me, it's weird because like this is an extremely Eastern thought form of like your ancestors and like carrying on the ancestral lineage. Like, but that's totally. I'm like, yeah, dude. Like, think about how many thousands of people suffered all of the crazy historical like tragedies that went down just so you could be like, you know
Yeah,
what?
I'm good.
I'm
actually.
good, dude. Like, there's enough people. Like,
Yeah.
but it's just
That's funny.
yeah. I'm a comedian a little bit, but we're here to interview you. It ain't all about me, as much as I wish it could be sometimes.
Yeah. Don't we all?
Yeah, right. It's a self interest. Art.
Yep.
Eric, photography, jewelry, gardening. Consider that an art form?
Yeah, you know, it can be.
Yeah.
Definitely. I do like aesthetic design, so I do like my garden to look a certain way, and I think it looks more healthy when it appears a certain way.
True.
I also do music, DJing, and I used to do some music production back in the day, early college days, but someone stole my laptop once upon a time, and once that happened, I lost pretty much everything on that computer.
Yeah.
So I kind of just cut that one and
Damn, that sucks, dude.
cut my
What the
losses
heck,
and
man?
moved on to other hobbies, which I think is really when photography kind of came more into the picture.
Sure. Oh, ha
Ah,
ha. You didn't even
see,
mean
I didn't
that.
even realize that was good. Oh man,
I loved every second of that one. I was like, he didn't even mean to say that shit. I was like, natural cha-ching.
Yes, love it.
Oh my god, great, fantastic. So, what is art to you?
All right, what is art? To me, it's really just a self-expression, and I mostly do visual arts. Photography, obviously, I can print them on different mediums to achieve different looks. Jewelry, more of like a physical product, something that somebody can have in their hands, and where it's wearable art. Mm-hmm. So, you know, like it's like, yeah, no one's gonna bring out like a canvas with them and be like, check out my artwork, you know. But it's great for your house because you have it on your wall. People come in, they're like, oh, that's amazing. Like, where'd you get that? Or like, what's the story behind that? Mm-hmm. So, it's really just a form of self-expression, and I think all of my art forms have come from a part of my life where I wanted more, or I wanted to change, or doing something different. And my photography revolves around landscapes and nature, and that's me being outside in nature, typically alone. Sometimes I shoot with other photographers, or even just homies that like being outside. You know, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go shoot this lightning storm that's supposed to come over North Lake Tahoe. Like, you want to go out there, drink some beers, smoke a joint, and just chill and watch the sunset? I'm like, yeah, sure. And those are always fun experiences because it allows like that person to connect with that photo more and that experience more.
Yeah.
So it's really just a self-expression, and, you know, a way to kind of just put myself in an environment where I feel accepted, I guess.
Sure.
So, yeah, I feel like that's where my photography comes from, is just being in nature. And jewelry is also very nature-based, with gemstones and from different parts of the world. So, yeah.
Cool, man. Would you consider nature like a muse of yours? Like the natural world of like organic, not so much like the cityscape, what we consider artificial?
Yeah. Yeah, I think, you know, I love like just nature, just the natural, you know, whether it's big rocks or big sequoia redwood trees, or it's a huge waterfall, like that is more of my interest because it doesn't always have something to say back in terms of like voicing something, you know. It doesn't have like that critique behind it. It just kind of is like you don't tell a tree like, oh, that's a little too short. I think we need a little bit bigger tree. The tree is a tree. The waterfall is a waterfall. That's the beauty of it. Yeah. Is they're all different. I do like shooting some more like urban cityscape stuff. San Francisco is great for that. Mm-hmm. I've been in NorCal for maybe 15 years, and I definitely have my phase of like straight city shooting. And a lot of the photographers, when I originally started like meeting up with them, was in San Francisco doing like these huge, I think it was called Flash Mob.
Oh,
It was like hundreds of people. We'd meet up at like Lombard Street at this time, and we'd hang out for 2 or 3 hours, and we'd just mob around the city, taking photos, doing all types of different photography tricks and like steel wool and light painting, portraits, you name it. Wow. We were doing it. So I do like the urban stuff too, but I definitely love, I do like the mix of the two as well. The Golden Gate Bridge is a prime example of that. It's an amazing piece of engineering with the Marin headlands right behind it, or San Francisco has a lot of hills and stuff too. So I do like a good mix of the two as well.
Balance.
Yeah, the balance.
Here we are again.
The balance.
Balance comes back around. That's dope, man. That's dope. What inspired you to like get involved with photography or jewelry, or like how did that progress in your life?
Photography, which is funny. I was the last one in my family to get a camera. I don't know why. I started out on an iPhone. I just, I was living in Lake Tahoe. I think I was like 18. And I just loved looking at the lake and taking photos of it. But I think what really got me into photography and the style I do now on my digital SLR camera is, you could call it light painting, or you're kind of altering light, or the way, you use light to do long exposures at night. So it was, I think a photo that comes to mind is there was a photo in a magazine of like a desert landscape. I think there was an Airstream in it. It was a bunch of like Joshua trees and cactuses, and these people had put like uplights on the cactuses and, lit up the trailer really nice, and it just looked like a really like surreal scene. Like it almost looked fake because you could see the stars, and it just didn't look real. And I was like, man, like how do you do that? And that's what really like provoked me into pursuing photography more on like a professional level of like buying, $1,000 cameras and lenses and tripods and, filters for different effects, and really actually like investing in it was definitely like, I would say is my specialty, is long exposure. So you can capture, it's almost like you're capturing time within one single frame, and you can manipulate, in a sense, the way that the viewer perceives that. So a lot of is, it's kind of a, I like having the little mind fuck, if you will, in there. And people are just like, how did you do this again? Right, I'm like, oh, this is doing this while this is doing that. And then that is supposed to reflect this. That does this. And they're like, okay, It's just a photo. Yeah, for sure. It's just a photo. I'm like, yeah, it is. But there was a lot of work put into it.
Right. So you're a wizard.
Yeah. A wizard of light, I'd say.
A light wizard.
Yeah, amazing, light wizard.
Dude. Fuck yeah, man. I need more light wizards.
Yeah. It was just light, really. Manipulating light and making it do different things, and whether it's with color or stars. I'll use like the moon. My favorite phase is like the first couple days of waxing. In the summertime, I'll use the waxing moon right before the sun goes down, or right after the sun goes down, to light my foreground right before the Milky Way comes up, and then it's all natural lighting that I'm using to achieve a photo that you'd be like, there's no way that you did that. Right. And it's like, no, there's maybe 10 days out of the year where you could do that.
Right. It's very small windows of opportunity to achieve the phenomenal pictures.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that I love about photography, as someone who doesn't really like take more than just like cell phone pictures, is like the amount of like that level of conscious effort and thought that goes into like, I know that the moon is going to be here at this time, and I got to be wherever I need to be in the world to be able to capture the light of the sun going down or coming up to get the light that I need for this to look great.
Yeah, and there was a time in my life, not so much anymore, you could ask me what time it was. I could look at the stars, the moon, or the sun, and give you within 5 to 10 minutes of exactly what time it was.
Oh, dude, what happened?
I didn't stop going outside as much.
Yeah.
So that was like that was when I was just shooting passionately. All I cared about, like, you could hit my email and I'd get back to you in 3 months.
Oh shit!
Like that's how much I was outside. I was like, I do not give a fuck about you contacting me, hitting me up. Don't bother me. I'm out. This is my therapy. I'm out here taking good photos and doing this because I want to be doing this. Now it's like a little bit more of a business for me. So I have to actually be on my computer and read my emails, because if not, I'm missing opportunities. And people being like, hey, remember I met you on the BART train? You know, you're a photographer coming from that event. Like, would you shoot an event next weekend? And I'm like, 3 months later, hey, sorry, bro. Like,
LOL.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, well, you're not gonna like,
not gonna land the fish on the hook for fucking pulling them after they're swam away.
Exactly. So that's why it's been a little different, you know. Because I used to just like camp, live outside. You know, I used to take all my jewelry and photography equipment in the back of my Jeep and drive to the top of a mountain and chill on Alpine Lake for a week and just make jewelry out of the back of my truck.
What were you doing to pay the bills? Did you have bills?
Not really.
No, that makes sense.
I had a storage unit.
Okay. Oh shit, dude. Yeah.
So I was just, I was like, oh, I'm broke. I don't have any money. All right, cool. No house, limited supplies.
No girl.
Yeah, that's a big
one. We love you, ladies,
right
but
there.
you like to spend money that
Shout
we don't
out to
have.
Michaela.
Shout out to my future wife.
So and that was just, and I was going to college at that time too. So I was going to school, and my dad was in the military, so the military paid for me to go to school.
Okay.
So I had money coming in. I got paid to go to college. I wasn't studying photography. I was studying resort and lodging management, event production.
Okay.
But I got paid to go to school. So if I wasn't in class,
yeah,
I would always try and game my schedule to be like Tuesday through Thursday.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Right. So
then
I would go off.
Then I would take off for as long as possible. Or if it was, holiday break.
Yeah, you're just out there.
My parents never lived where I lived. They never lived in California for that long, or in the United States for that part. So I was often just like, all right, what do I want to do with my time for a month? Like, I'm not flying to Europe. I'm going to stay here. So it's like I would just spend time outside all the time.
Damn, bro. So you're just rolling around solo?
Yeah. Or like I said, bring a friend with me. Sure. Be like, hey, you want to go camp? And they're like, yeah, where are you going? I'm like, this sick spot. I got the shot in my head that I'm, what
I want.
I've been lining up, and it's only gonna happen like for the next couple of days. Like, you're trying to roll, and they're like, yeah, sure. But yeah, I go solo too. I don't mind being outside alone. Yeah, but I do have some homies that are down.
Now, how deep would you go by yourself?
I go pretty deep, man. Like, if my car broke down, no one's finding me.
Sure. Yeah, I was still like, I don't know. I just love, like, I feel dumb having to say this shit out loud, but I just love the concept or the notion that, like, aliens, Bigfoot, the werewolves, all that ridiculous ass shit. So, like, you ever seen any spooky shit in the woods? So then you're like, I don't know what the hell that was, and I don't want to go back.
I've seen some pretty cool shit. Nothing too spooky.
Okay.
I mean, usually it's like, honestly, in nature, it's usually other people that freak me out more so than like, I'm not scared of bears, or I'd never want to see a mountain lion, but like, animals don't really freak me out. I feel like that's like unless they're trying to eat you or you have food laying out. Yeah, I've never had any real problems with that. I've definitely seen. Is this particle board? Or?
I don't know.
Is this real wood?
Where's the real wood? I don't know. Yeah, right.
I've seen some really cool, like astral phenomenons, like really sick comets that just like come into our atmosphere, burn all the way across, and then like, gone. Who knows where that thing landed?
Yeah,
seen that kind of thing. Definitely seen some stuff. Not for photography trips, but just being outside. I've seen some pretty weird shit with some friends that we've been like, that was for sure a UFO.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, that was fucking weird.
Yeah,
like, I wish we would have had our cameras out to document that, because that was like, orbs floating and making like weird fast movements, and then just gone. And we're like, all right, everyone saw that?
Yeah, we all saw that.
We're not just high?
Yep.
Right.
Not just high. Oh, man, dude. I love it. I love that shit so much.
Honestly, being outside shooting, I specialize also in, like, astral photography as well. So I think staring at the stars is also, you're going to see I've seen some really crazy stuff. Not too long ago, There was that, I don't know what you want to call it. Some people say it was generated by that Alaska weather system.
Oh, dude, you're talking about the Aurora Boreas?
Yeah.
Or,
So, the Aurora Borealis.
Borealis, yeah.
So I saw that. That was a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
Up in near Whiskeytown, west of Redding.
Oh, you're saying you were up there, yeah?
Yeah, I was out there almost to Oregon. So I was like, oh, we're definitely going to see it up here because we're going further north.
Right.
But it turns out like all of America, even down into Mexico, saw it.
Yeah.
Which is pretty unheard of.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. The lights were like insanely vivid, which was wild. And then I had a crazy headache the next day, and I was like, I feel like it was all those electromagnetic frequencies floating around. Kind of radiation.
Do you? I don't know. I heard this as because I'm tinfoil hat kind of guy. So, did you think that Because what I had heard, word on the street, kind of take it or leave it. Because some people you say conspiracy theory and they're like, I hate you, don't talk to me, or they don't want to hear it. Is that like DARPA or any like the weather modification thing? Was
Yeah,
kind of
HARP.
HARP. Yeah,
that's what it's called.
Yeah, HARP.
So yeah, I think it's a form of weather manipulation. I don't know what they're doing. I feel like
I don't even think they know what they're doing.
I don't even think they know what they're doing. I honestly don't know. I mean, I looked into a bunch of like solar radiation stuff after that. Like, how does that actually happen? Mm-hmm. Like, the solar flares from the sun, like coming, and then how they
diffuse through the atmosphere
and move and bounce around. Yeah. Do like a flip and then come back around. So it's kind of like comes in, gets trapped, does a couple 360 flips, and then before it heads back out into space. But I don't know. I don't know enough about space to really be like, no, it was definitely HARP or space is fucking wild.
We know more about space than we do our own ocean, which is even trippier to think about.
Actually, that was a question for a National Geographic photo contest.
Was it?
Yeah. And I had to write a prompt on which one would I explore. Uh-huh. And I picked the ocean.
You should pick the ocean, dude.
Because I was like, well, we already have this ocean and that we know nothing about. I don't think we have any business really going out into space when we don't even understand how big's our ocean, like comparatively to our whole Earth. Is it like 60, 70%?
Yeah, I think it's like 70 something. Yeah.
So I'm like, well, we have like 70% of our Earth that we don't even know about. We should probably
check that shit out.
Check that out.
I feel like, especially with tidal energy, like I saw this thing. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to put on the screen or not, but they're like these tidal force or tidal like energy generators that basically just bob with the ocean, and then like that generates power. I'm assuming through like electromagnetism, that you just had a giant magnet on something that moved through past copper wires, and that generated electricity. That if you just did that, sent out a crap ton of those out into the ocean, that like you would just make so much ridiculous power. But then of course, I think the problem would then become how you're going to get the power from where it's generated to the thing. But if
big old cord running through the ocean,
right? You're not going to do that because what the heck's that going to do to all the fish or whatnot? You guys would have to get to the level of like back to Nikola Tesla being able to send electricity wirelessly, or just get it to like a central place where you stepped it up to a certain voltage that then like basically arced it like a lightning bolt to another place. That's just what I imagine, that you could just do that. Like if you just had two places at the same potential that were close enough together, and you had all of the electrical engineering calculations done, that you could just be like, yeah, we're just gonna zap the electricity over here, and then we got it. Like we don't need wires.
It exists.
Yeah, it's I'm not
cell phones,
5G. You can send information.
So.
Spooky action at a distance. Particles know with the spin immediately. Like, so there's got to be some way of transferring this information wirelessly or energy wirelessly that is suppressed by the people pulling the strings.
The puppet masters,
if you will. That may or may not be real. We don't know. Don't espouse to know. Yeah. I like to pretend though. But we're supposed to be talking about art, but here we are in this rabbit hole. I wanted what was it? Kind of went through your
so getting into photography,
where we were, the process of developing your craft. Where are you trying to take it? Because you also alluded to like a business side of things nowadays, being less on the computer, more of like I gotta actually talk to these people, make money.
So I just launched a new website with these guys that they're called Art Storefronts. I think they're out of Texas. I've been talking to these guys pretty much my whole photography career. They've been trying to poach me
Oh, fuck.
for like 12 plus years.
Nice.
I think I did my first phone interview with them when I was like 22 years old. Like I was just, they're like, yeah, it's like $2,500 of this. And like I said, I was like living out of my car. I'm like, dude, I don't have this kind of money. Like, so I've always been making my own websites. And so I've built myself maybe 4 or 5 websites. I think this is my 5th one, but I didn't have to build this one as much. They kind of set it up, and then they're like, but the cool thing is they have the support if you need it to be like, hey, I don't know how to do this. But it's also kind of funny because, little side tangent, all the people that are on there are like older, so they've got to the point of their life where they're retired and now they want to be artists.
Oh, hilarious.
So I'm like hanging out with a bunch of like technology. What would you call it? Deficient. They just don't understand, laptop, cell phones. They just don't get it. So it's like funny being around a bunch of people that are like, they're artists, but they don't understand that part of it.
The side of the 21st century side of things.
Yeah. So, and that website provides printers that are in the Bay Area and printers that I've already used in the past, and I really like their quality. So I have all these amazing, great photos. Like I have photos that have been in National Geographic, won, National Park contest, the Great Smithsonian, like a bunch of different like nature photography magazines, like published work. But I was so young and I just loved doing it. I didn't really care about like
a little bit like collecting accolades.
Yeah, I just was like, sick, another one in the books.
Yeah,
like,
whatever.
I
Go
was
to the
like,
file.
Oh, sick, I'll take that 10 grand. That was all. Yeah. So I was actually surviving because I was doing so many photo contests, which reminds me, there's a state park one coming up that my mom sent me. I need to enter because I could probably win. It's like $5 grand. Yeah. That's what I was doing back in the day. I was like, no bills, photo contests, and I was actually winning like back-to-back contests.
Sweet, dude.
So I was like,
as a champ, bro.
10 grand, $5 grand. I'm like, and then I just reinvest it all into camera gear.
Yep.
So that's how I was rolling for a really long time. So now it's like I have all this great art. A lot of my friends know I'm an artist of some sort. But I also have a lot of new friends, and they don't know. And some people want art for their walls, and some people don't. So it's like I'm really trying to just push my art back out there, which a lot of people call me Push because I like pushing art. And pushing people to be their greatest selves. So it's like a philosophy name kind of thing.
So wait, what you said? Push art?
Yeah. So my Instagram name is Kush Push because back in high school I used to sell a lot of weed. Oh. So I used to sell a lot of weed, and that also used to make money like that too. And then I was like, I don't want to go to jail. Things are getting a little dicey, and I was just like, nah, I'm gonna be an artist. I'm gonna sell art. So. That's where the push came from. I was like, I'm not pushing Kush anymore. I'm pushing art. But yeah, that's what I'm just trying to, do more projects. Like I said, I have that big art installation. This is my biggest art project in this building that I've ever done. But I'm just trying to, work on more new concepts for art installations. That website allows you to do augmented reality where you could, put the photo on the wall of your house. So you can walk in your living room, pull out your phone, pick the artwork.
Look at it.
And you can look at it, what it would look like in scale to your wall. So just, yeah. And it's all just like I said, I have good artwork that it doesn't do any good sitting in my house or in my closet. It's supposed to be on a wall or something like that. People are supposed to be enjoying it and looking at it. So that's the new direction is more the business side, not so much the artist side. It's more of like running numbers and being on my computer and seeing how I'm going to make everything work. And instead of just like, I don't really care about that. I'm just going to go take photos I'm just going to make jewelry. Yep. So
no, you need both. I think the people who only do one kind of just like, they don't fall flat per se, but it's just like, they're literally just one dimensional.
Yeah.
Like pure artists are fucking incredible human beings, and like extremely successful businessmen are like interesting if that's like your squeeze of like what you like to like hear people talk about or like experience in life. But blending the two so that like you can live that like holistic, again balanced like experience. Like I think that's really how people should live. I guess that's sort of what I would qualify as a good life, is to be well lived and well balanced and well versed.
Yeah. for sure. And it's definitely difficult, and took a little bit of my ego getting over because I'm like such an artist. I'm like, I would never sell out. Like I would never, like, it's funny now, with Instagram and all these social medias, there's like influencers, and I think it's fucking hilarious because, and maybe I'm just jealous, who knows, but back in the day, like 15, like when Instagram first came out, I had companies hit me up doing, phone interviews like, hey, we want you to, you got all these great spots, like, we want you to do our blog, we want you to use our app, like, to like endorse like this. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Like, and now it cracks me up because there's people who literally straight.
That's all they do.
That's all they do. They just, I thought it was selling out.
Yeah.
I still don't like give up my locations for a lot of stuff for
Shouldn't.
good reasons because, well, like I said, my photography was, for me, it was my safe place to be immersed in nature, not to be like, hey, where's that spot at, bro? So I can go get this exact same photo as you and be cool. Yeah. And like, I was like, that's fucking whack. But it's funny how that's like everybody does it. Like, check out my blog post for all these places I've been, and this is how you get there. And like, I think that's cool to an extent, but for nature stuff, I've seen spots get ruined. Like I go back to a river spot that we used to cliff jump, or a swimming hole covered in trash. People hike a bunch of shit in and then don't hike it back out. And I'm just like, see, this is why I don't give up my spots, because when I go there, I want it to look how I remember it.
Yep.
And me and my homies will go out spots with trash bags and like we'll haul a shitload of trash out of a spot. Even spots that we don't even, we're visitors, like there's locals. This is a local spot.
Yeah.
So
shout out to, what is it? I think it's Earth Drop. This dude in, Scotland, I think it is. He just goes out and picks up garbage all the time. I love that he does that because it was a thing that I actually wanted to do for like a hot second there. I mean, my thing was like I didn't have the ire or the burning like thing inside of me to like continue to do what I'm doing with this, like editing and putting it all on social media, like because I wanted me to like pick up, and because also it's not super, didn't think it was super entertaining, but the short form content works for pretty beautifully. But he does a lot of like, this is my one critique of his, the way he's a lot of like, not sad, I guess in a way it's like sad boy, like woe is me victim kind of thing of like this shitty situation that happened with his car. He talks about it too much. I'm like, bro, like, okay, we get it. Like, you fucked up and bought a car that wasn't great. Like, God damn it, bro. I'm sorry that happened to you. But I gave him money on Patreon, dog. I gave him like $5 a month. I just want that guy to like be able to like do the thing that he's doing, picking up garbage and making the world like prettier. And like, I don't know what the fuck he's supposed to do with the garbage, but at least he's doing something that's like, I think, making the world better.
Yeah. And also on that topic, shout out Gambler 500, which is a 500-mile rally point race in a car under $500 in Oregon, in open Oregon forest roads. And they pick up millions of pounds of trash every year. It's like a huge rally race, but the award is biggest piece of trash. Yakima will give you like a full rooftop setup for your car.
Damn, dude.
People pull in with like a Toyota Camry with like a 26-foot hauled boat, like just like this. It's with the back window just smashed out. The whole thing's just hooptied out. But shout out to them. They go out there and just clean up the Oregon forest and
picking up garbage.
Yeah. And they'll go other places too. Everywhere they'll do a race, it's like it's all about cleaning up and keeping our public lands looking good so that people can enjoy them. Not, oh, I don't want to pay to go to the dump, so I'm just gonna go dump it
somewhere.
Yeah, where everyone wants to hang out, which is why I don't give up my spots, because people be doing that shit. People just pull over on the side of the freeway and just dump trash. I don't get it. I'm like, really? This was your plan? You just drove down the road and then, oh, this looks like a good spot. I'm just gonna throw everything on the back of my truck here and keep going. Like,
I wonder what their house looks like,
What are you doing?
Live like that. I had a friend when I was selling weed that like same shit. He just like, we got fucking Wendy's or whatever it was, which I don't really go there anymore. But he just like fucking finished eating the thing, put the wrapper in the bag, just threw the bag out the window. I'm like, dog, like what the fuck? We're literally like 2 minutes down the road from your house. Like, did you just wait to throw it away in the thing? Like, he's like, nah, like whatever. I'm like, bro, it's your neighborhood, dog. Like, what are you doing? Like, just no awareness of like, hey, this thing reflects where I'm at in the world and what I'm doing with my life. There's just none of that, or I don't know, because I don't think that way, so I really don't know. For sure.
And some people just don't. Like I was out in Bali, Indonesia, just a couple months ago,
Yeah,
but
almost died.
Almost died.
Casual brush.
Casual death.
Yeah. Ego
Not
death,
a big deal.
literal death.
I've gotten over it since then. But they have a huge trash problem in their oceans.
Yeah.
Like, and if you look up Indonesia or Bali trash, all you have to do Google Indonesia, Bali trash. It's ridiculous. But even just seeing the awareness of that, like I'd be up in the mountains at a waterfall, and you have to pay to go to their waterfall, but there'd be trash coming down from someone further up the hill, usually from tourism, plastic bottles, wrappers, all that kind of stuff. And it would come down, and instead of picking it up and throwing it away, there'd be some dude out there in the stream where the water would kind of hit a little side pocket and just twirl around, whack it with a stick to keep going down the stream.
God damn it.
And I was like, I'd watch this happen. I was like, wait, what? And I was like, this kind of makes sense because these guys don't go to the ocean. They live in the mountains. So they're like, not my trash.
Yep.
So it wasn't mine, and they don't go to the ocean. So they're just like, we don't have to see it.
Yep.
But then you go down to the ocean, the beaches, and it's like destroyed. And a lot of it comes from the rivers up in the mountains. But it's just funny, like that disconnect.
Out of sight, out of mind kind of mentality.
And I don't think it's like always malicious. I think they're just, I just saw it as they're just like, not mine. Move it along.
People who aren't like travelers, I would say. They're people who don't get out of their immediate like 150-mile bubble. They're just like, this is my community, this is where I live, this is my people.
They think they're keeping their community clean by moving it along.
Exactly.
Seriously.
But it's like we're 7-8 billion people now, so there's a little bit more of like a responsibility to take care of it, because if we don't take care of the systems that sustain us, it's collapsing. Fucking, I don't know. This is for me. This is the balance between like the puppet masters, the people pulling the strings, and like the rest of us that are like, they're afraid of us, I think, more, and that's why they feel the need to control like the people who are so full of love and light and want to heal the world, because like we have I think the technology exists and the solutions exist to like solve all the problems that people are like, climate change, or what would it be, the sixth great extinction event that's like us fucking with the environment. Like we have the technology to like solve all those problems, but it doesn't make people a lot of money.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, hold on a second. Great idea. Let's get back to that in 20 years after we have all of our shit set up so we can make a shitload of money off of it. Then we'll run it. Perfect. Hold that thought.
Perfect.
All right. Now we're ready.
Right.
We have all of our companies and our profits in line. Go for it. I see it. I see it all the time. Day to day.
Yeah. It's like I feel like there has to, whatever the next evolution of like money or society is, it's like finding that actual balance of like, hey, like these systems sustain our lives, these practices make us like well-grounded whole individual people and communities, and like less totalitarian centralized power structures and just these decentralized like mini civilizations of like 500-ish to 1,000, however big or small you want to let go, because there's always going to be, you can't, in my mind, take away people's freedoms to like assemble would be a way to say it, but just like interface with one another, is, if I could say it that way, interact. And you can't take, I guess you can, some civilizations do it that way where they whatever, but I don't feel like it's going to lead to wellness or whole beingness.
Mm-hmm. Well, and also on that Bali subject, not to just completely be like, it's full of trash and that sucks. Also, some of the most resourceful, sustainable people I know. Mm-hmm. They will make anything out of anything. They'll make shoes out of coconut husk. They'll make bags out of recycled tires. Like, I've seen them do some shit. I'm like, this is some ingenuity. Mm-hmm. So the trash caused a problem, but they're also out there solving it at the same time. So,
yeah, it's awesome.
It's like, it's cool to see that, and for people to care to an extent too.
Yeah.
And like, that's a goal with my photography, is like, it used to be like, oh, just let me have your spot so I can go get the same photo as you and be cool and do this and that. I'm like, dude, that doesn't, like, the point is you want to go adventure into nature so that you fall more in love with yourself and with nature. That makes you love nature more. You want to take care of nature more. Mm-hmm.
Take care of yourself more.
Yes. Exactly what you're saying. Wonder what that dude's house looks like.
Exactly.
Like, if he's just out here throwing out the window, you can only imagine what he's not taking care of his house. He's not taking care of him.
Body.
Yeah. Everything.
Mind. soul, any of that. Yeah.
So it's like, that's the point, is like, I think nature is the answer, personally. But I think people just don't have that connection with it, or they don't have the association with it.
Well, I'm just sort of almost back on the thing of like the solutions exist, and and the information is probably like suppressed. The people that the Western way of needing to push and do 24/7 and be just these productive little cogs in other people's machines is like, to be connected with nature, it requires this like much more slower, introspective quietness. You can't drink 7 cups of coffee and do that. Like those two things don't work together.
Yeah.
But like I think there's a time and place for both, like extreme productiveness, but also like slow, well-being, wholeness. I keep coming back to whole for some reason. The sound.
The balance.
Oh, damn, bro.
Gotcha.
Damn, dude.
It's all about balance, baby.
It's so funny, like these meta themes that we're like talking about all these other things, but then
it just comes back to it.
It's
the truth.
Ugh. Capital T, baby. Capital TRUE. True. Big true. Ka-true.
Yeah, man.
Man,
these are all things I'm passionate about, you know. Yeah. And that's why I make art. That's why I love, with my jewelry, I love like real metals. I love brass, I love copper, I love silver, I love gold, because all of these, obviously they have value in our economy, and they always will. But like, you can take a silver ring, put a flame to it, melt it back down, and you can use that shit again. Mm-hmm. You could use it for this, you could use it for that. Like, you can reuse these metals over and over and over again. Yeah. Which is also like, I like the fact that it's not just like, oh, cool, thanks, and then it's just like not worth anything.
Right.
You know, like consumerism.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is a gold-plated this and that. I'm like, okay, so what are you going to do with that? That's not worth anything. Right. But you're going to have to melt it down. You have to separate the metals. Like, it's just use something of quality and keep it quality by, you know, keeping like that, not pureness, but also, you know, that. So.
What was it? It's gonna kill me. It's in one of my songs from first album. This collusion like thing that they did. It was like when they were making light bulbs. The light bulbs were too good at what they were doing. They weren't breaking down fast enough, so they had to make them shittier so they would break, so people would buy more light bulbs.
Exactly.
Like, that is just so not the original American like way of doing things.
No.
They were like, yo, like we're just like out here in the woods, like fighting Native Americans, taking over or whatever. They definitely did do that. But the idea that like you homestead, you fix the shit when it breaks. You don't just go out and immediately buy some more shit that you don't need or something that's also gonna break in like a year or two. And like, I don't know, like again, this is the spinning around the meta theme or orbiting around the meta theme of like, as a collective group of people, I guess this community, I would like to believe, as other people who think and feel this way, as they like get more aware of me talking about it, that coming together and living in this way, so that like the powers that be, the banks, like don't have any more influence over us as people. Like, get out of debt, do what's good for your soul and your body and your mind and your heart, live passionately, and then like they're just gonna like, I just assume that they're gonna just dissolve away. Like, it's just gonna like fade away, or we're gonna integrate it as people and like realize how fucked up it's been for forever. Yeah. Oh man, I just feel my heart like oh God, so much love. What's love got to do with it? Everything. Secondhand emotion. Oh my God, I don't even know what song I'm even singing anymore. There's too many songs. That's how my brain works too. Just like association. Songs. I say words. I'm like, oh, that's a lyric there, that.
That is me connects. All day long.
Do you feel that spirituality or religion plays any type of role in your creative process?
Well, I grew up like Christian, going to church with my mom. Like that's, and my dad's Catholic. I don't think he really liked going to church. I didn't like going to church either. Mm-hmm. But I definitely like believe more in like a spirituality, like God more as like a collective consciousness in a sense, you know, like people are like, oh, prayer, and like, you know, like, and I do believe in that, because I do think like us consciously as humans, like putting that energy out there, it's like there's a representation of what that will end up providing. But yeah, just spirituality mostly, just because of nature and, like I feel like a part of nature. So just, yeah, being alive and, even just like grounding myself, walking around trees barefoot and just swimming in the water and just hanging out. Like that's definitely spirituality to me, of being like a part of something greater than myself. So yeah, not so much religion, although I did grow up religious, but yeah, spirituality for sure. And that's just the representation of nature.
No, I figured based on the previous kind of points in the conversation where we talked about it, just wanted to hear it again, reiterated. And I was do this repetition. The listeners probably know that what's coming, but being religious for me is less about like the doctrine of any specific theology. It's more about doing something every day. Like really, like that's what it means to be religious. Like repeating the prayers. Like I pray for my food, and grateful to say thank you in like 30 or 40 languages.
Yeah. Just
because like I can, and I want that to be a prayer that like if it could be traced back to my lineage of my fucking theosophical bullshit, then like I would feel like I left a legacy of like, hey, like this is an amalgamation of all of the human culture that exists on this planet, and like the way that I would like human beings to live, or the way that I it's like you got to be. I personally believe that there's no like you got to practice what you preach. You got to be the living example of like your thing, and be like the proof of like, hey, when you live like this is the result of like living like this, and you see it in other people. Like, why don't you're choosing this now? Because you can see that comparatively and contrastively, like this way is how people flourish and just live passionately and full lives.
Yeah, and I grew up in Southeast Asia, like in Okinawa, Japan. Okay. So I grew up in like a lot of different cultures. I didn't grow up in the United States really. Yeah. So I have mad respect for that, like cultural practices. You wake up every day, you whether you're praising Buddha or you're praising Allah, but it's like that repetition and that practice. You are what you preach and what you are trying to achieve. And like that repetition of like, that's like mad respect for, like even just going back to Bali, like seeing this culture, like put in all this effort to like their holidays and their parade. And like, they don't ever skip a beat. They're not just like, oh, I don't feel like doing it today. Which Westerners, I mean, not everyone, but they're like, oh, I guess I could do that later. Like, they're like no, there's no, like, no, we do this. This is what we do. And I'm always like, mad respect that you guys, I'm like drinking a beer or partying, and I see these guys getting ready for their festival for the next day. Like, that's religious. And I'm just like, damn, mad respect. Like, nothing's going to stop you guys. So I have a lot of appreciation for religion. And I've seen a lot of different cultural, religious spirituality, like Buddhism, Muslim. There's one other one that I'm trying to think of. Yep, Hindu.
Yeah, the big 4 or 5.
So yeah, it's like I've seen a lot of different variations of those particular religions too. Everyone's like, oh, this is just one religion. I'm like, well, actually, if you take that religion over to this country, it looks a little different. Yeah. So I've seen a lot of different of those, and I have mad respect for the people that like, every day at 5 a.m. they wake up and pray. Yeah. It's like they do that all the time. So.
I mean, I get up at 5 a.m., but I don't pray. I wouldn't call it praying. A little bit of breath work when the schedule allows. I like focus right now mostly on like manifesting the things that I'm looking for in the day, the next 6 months to a year, and then the next like 5 to 10 years.
Nice.
Yeah. So
that's good.
Yeah, it's like a constant like. I imagine it as like a little like radar ping that I'm sending out into like the different loops of like time.
Yeah.
Like, you're like 24 hours, fucking however many hours, 6 months to a year, and then however many hours, fucking 5 to 10 years is. Oh my God, that's so many hours to really think about. We underestimate what we can do. We overestimate what we can achieve in a year, and we underestimate what we can achieve in a decade.
Yeah, for sure. I know the thought's kind of scary.
Yeah, dude. I think back of like who I was 10 years ago, and I'm like, bro, like what the fuck, like totally different human being.
Yeah, I know. That was one of the questions I saw was like year, 5 years, 10 years, and I actually like my girlfriend got me this dope ass book that like has you write down all your things, you know, and I like got to that part and I was like, close the book. I was like, Jesus Christ, I got to figure this out now.
Well, you can, or you could do the Western thing and delay the
Exactly.
like, nope, not gonna think
I'll
about
figure it
that.
out later. I have a general direction of where I'm going.
That's the balance again of like, because you get like the people who are like, you get anxious, like you hyper focus on it, and you're missing living in the moment.
Exactly.
If this is I love this quote, Cheshire Cat quote, and then the evolution of it that my friend gave me. If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. But if you know where you're going, every road will take you there. Because you're just the determination. I think this one's from. I just finished re-listening to this book, The Richest Man in Babylon. That the determination determines like the way, or something like that. Like if you have that thing on the horizon you're chasing, and you're certain of it, you have faith that the universe or God is providing an avenue for that to achieve, be a thing in your life, that like it happens.
For sure. I've seen it happen in my life over and over again. I used to preach that shit all the time. I'd be like, I've tried to fail. I've never failed. Like, go out there and fucking chase your dreams, do your thing. But like, I think I wasn't really cutting myself enough credit for what I was actually doing, whether it was showing up for myself every day, or having a routine or a habit or what it was. I think I just wasn't really realizing that I was doing it, but either it was ingrained in me from like my parents, or ingrained in me from like a past life of like spirituality side. Like, but I've seen like what I have now in my life, I used to talk about like, about 10 years ago. And I was like, I want a studio in my house that I can, have all my DJ stuff and my jewelry bench and my photography. Me and all my friends can just hang out and make artwork. Now I have that. And I'm like, oh, why don't you give yourself a little credit? Because, but it's so easy to get caught up in the, like, oh, I don't have enough, or, oh, I need to do this, or, oh, I need to achieve my next goal. And then I'm like, why don't you appreciate what you have? Because 10 years ago, this is all you wanted. And now you have it, and you're looking for the next thing.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, dial it back a little bit so that I can make sure I enjoy it. I was just hanging out with a bunch of rich people the other day, like Ferraris, Rolls Royces, G-Wagons. Some of these people can't even hold a conversation.
Who cares exactly?
And I'm like, hey, yeah, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. And they're just kind of like, good. I'm like, is this your Ferrari? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, do you like it? And they're like, uh-huh. I'm like, okay, cool. See you later, dude. Like,
exactly,
Jesus
dude.
Christ. Like, I always want a Ferrari, but I'd be ripping that shit down the road, probably getting pulled over, getting speeding tickets with all my friends too. But it's like there's a difference. It's like you can hyper focus on something and achieve it. I don't doubt that at all.
Right.
I know it's possible. I've done it, but it's like, yes. Do I admire for more? Do I want more? For sure. Do I want to enjoy where I'm at? Definitely. Because if I fly by it too quickly, or if life takes a turn and you don't get to ever do it, you better make sure you had some fun.
Yeah.
While you're doing it. Yeah. While you're doing it, You
could fail at what you hate, so why even bother with it?
For sure. Well, I came up with this quote that was, I think I wrote it down on my phone. And when I reread it, I'm like, oh, that doesn't really make sense. But it does. It's like, I don't want to like struggle for what I want. Like, I'd rather find what I want and then struggle to get there. So it's like, instead of just making a living just to make a living and then like struggling and being like, oh, it's just so hard to like piece it together. It's like, I'd rather figure that out. Like, I want to be an artist. Is this shit easy? No, it's not. But like, this is what I need to do to like kind of push forward. And I'd rather have the struggle reflect those goals than to just be like living life and struggling and being like, well, it's just so hard. It's like, more money, more problems. It's like, oh, I have more money. Oh, now I bought a new car. Oh, now my new car's got problems. I'm like, shit, man, it's catching up with me really quick.
Yeah.
My old car worked.
Yeah, no problems.
Or
less problems.
Less problems. It's like, all right, well, I only had a bike.
Yep.
I change the chain and maybe do some new tubes every once in a while.
Yep.
So it's all like perspective too. It's nice having cool things. I have a lot of cool things. So you should see my basement. It's ridiculous.
It's full.
Yeah. So it's like, but I love those things.
Right.
And I love enjoying them. But the more toys I get, the less I can enjoy all my toys.
Right.
I'm like, well, I use this once a year. Is it really practical?
Right.
I don't know.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But, I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, dude, exactly. Like,
and you have to have the free time to fucking use those things too. So it's like, how are you going to have the free time, you got to have money's freedom for sure, but unless you have something that provides you the freedom without you having to pay for it, pretty tough to come by. It's not impossible, but.
Shit. If you're gonna die, what nugget of wisdom would you want to like leave as like a thing that if you get into everybody's brains all over the world? But I mean, we basically just did that anyway.
The whole
So
time.
like, it's like whatever, man. We answered that question. Just listen to what we were just talking about the whole time.
Yeah, straight up.
I guess then we could just do.
I'll do a quick one, because I just wrote it not too long ago. But it's just like, like life can be short. And so, like, chase those dreams, pursue your passions, but just be careful doing it, And sometimes you might have to take risk in your life to get that reward, but just know that sometimes that risk could also take your life. So if you die doing something you love, at least you can say, I don't know if you'd be able to say it maybe before you pass, but that you died you're chasing your dreams, or you were trying to achieve something that was greater than yourself or involved a greater consciousness. So as long as you die doing something that you're like, I would really wanted this for myself or my family or a loved one or whatever, like as long as that's the goal, I think you're fine. But just make sure you keep that in life. If you're working a job every day and all you're thinking about is how much money you're making, it's probably time to get a new job.
Or new priorities.
Or new priorities. Reprioritize your shit. So.
Phew. No pressure there. No pressure there at all, dude. Fuck it.
Yeah, I know a guy, just a quick little side tangent. He's a rock climber. I did summer camp with him. He used to teach the rock climbing. I've rock climbed with him a couple times. Scared shitless, dude. I was like, what am I doing here? And he's like, you got it, dude. And I'm like, climbing this massive spire, like 200 feet. It's like a 2,000-foot drop, though. I'm like, this is scary. He went to Yosemite and climbed up to the base of this hike, and I don't know, the rock he sat on, just fucking shoop.
Yeah. Oh, dude, you fucking reminded me. Thank you. All right, so, because I'm going to take this from the side that, like, there is an afterlife, because that wasn't even something that we talked about, but betting on the fact that, like, you do get either to reincarnate if you didn't get to finish whatever, like, thing you, like, came to do here, or that, like, you just coming back for fucking more ridiculousness and more things and more fun, or wherever you go, that, like, that notion of like dying doing something you love is like, I'm just convinced that like you're just doing it to like tell as awesome of a, like that's how I live my life. I just to tell as incredible of a story as I possibly can about and like any topic or everything, and it's just because you got 2 ears, so you theoretically and definitely should try to put this into practice. Is like listen twice as much as you talk
For sure.
so you're not just a selfish asshole, or self-centered or whatever. But that like I think that's just like what life kind of boils down to is like being able to tell incredible or like riveting, like life-changing, distilling wisdom and like information that like is entertaining or engaging, or that like, especially if you're up there in the fucking spirit realm, like everything up there is just like everyone's like, oh hey, like because at some wavelength level, everybody's all the same. We're all the same soul, just fractalized a bajillion different ways. And like whenever you get to a certain level where like individual souls are sitting down and talking to one another, they're like, "Oh, you were on Earth at like during that era, like that shit was crazy, bro. Like I was this person." And like when the groups of souls get together, like, "Oh yeah, we were these people." We're like, "Dude, that was wild. Like, can you believe that that guy attacked you and that guy was you and you were me?" Like, I just want to think that it's like that so bad because it would just be hilarious. Though.
Yeah.
As people here now, we just take it so seriously. Like everything's like it's got to be this way, but then it's like everything is.
I'm an individual.
What are you though?
Yeah. Not really.
Do you want to plug? You can plug yourself right now, like where people can find you and like your website was appeared when you talked about your Instagram and everything.
Yeah. So website for art is ericdabreoart.com. Instagram is cushpush for my photos. Sexy cool jewels for my jewelry. And if you find my website, my social links are on there, so it should be pretty easy to find. And if not, maybe I'll meet you in person. I'll grab your phone number. You can always just hit me up if you want shit too. Yeah. Also do word of mouth and face-to-face interactions. Okay, people, you know what time it is. Smile more, complain less, never ever ever give up till you discerned it's for your darndest best. Namaste, have a great day. Slap shun if it's nighttime soon.
and I will catch you in the next one. Like, subscribe, share all of the good things that keep the attention and energy building to wherever the fuck we're going in the future. And I love you. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.